Welcome to our exploration of the top creepy places in Mississippi, a land of shadows, where moss-draped oaks whisper secrets in the wind, and forgotten roads lead to places better left undisturbed. Beneath its southern charm lies something older, something darker, a history steeped in mystery, tragedy, and restless spirits that refuse to fade. Here, the past lingers like a ghost itself. Stories of the supernatural aren't just whispered around campfires. They are woven into the very fabric of the land. From phantom footsteps echoing in empty hallways to spectral figures seen just beyond the flickering light, Mississippi is home to some of the most chilling hauntings in the South. But why does this place hold so much energy? Some say it's the weight of history, wars fought, lives lost, and sins never atoned for. Others believe something more sinister lurks beneath the surface, something that refuses to be forgotten. Tonight, we're stepping into the unknown, peeling back the veil between the living and the dead to uncover the most haunted places in Mississippi. But be warned, not every spirit rests in peace. If you love uncovering eerie and unexplained mysteries, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a journey into the unknown. But that's not all. If you're ready to take your love for creepy destinations to the next level, I've got something special for you. I'm thrilled to announce the release of my new book, Top 25 Most Creepy U.S. Destinations. Inside, you'll find the most eerie, spine-chilling places across the country. Places that will send shivers down your spine and ignite your curiosity about the unknown. If you're looking for your next ghostly adventure, this book is your ultimate guide. Number 5. Asbury Cemetery, the gateway to the unseen. There are cemeteries, and then there are places like Asbury Cemetery. Hidden deep in the forests of Coffeyville, Mississippi, this graveyard is more than just a resting place for the dead. It is a place where the line between the living and the departed is razor thin, where something unseen lingers between the tombstones, watching, waiting. The cemetery dates back to the 1800s, a time when disease, war, and hardship claimed lives at an unforgiving rate. Many of the people buried here met tragic and untimely ends, some from illness, some from violence, and some whose stories have been lost to time. But what sets Asbury apart from other cemeteries isn't just its history. It's what happens when the sun goes down. For decades, visitors have reported strange occurrences, figures darting between the graves, disembodied whispers carried by the wind, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Some claim that if you walk through the cemetery at night, you'll hear footsteps crunching through the dead leaves behind you. But when you turn around, there's nothing there. One of the most chilling legends tied to Asbury is that of the cursed child's grave. Local lore tells the story of a young boy who died under mysterious circumstances. Some say it was an illness that took him. Others whisper that something far more sinister happened. What is known, however, is that his grave has become a hotspot for paranormal activity. Those who dare to visit at night have reported hearing the faint, sorrowful cries of a child drifting through the still air. Others have seen tiny handprints appear on their car windows, handprints that weren't there when they arrived. The most disturbing encounter, however, comes from those who have claimed to see him. A small figure standing near his tombstone, his face pale, his eyes hollow, staring in silent agony before vanishing into the darkness. But the hauntings don't end there. The cemetery is also said to be home to something much darker, an entity known only as the Watcher. Some describe it as a shadowy figure that lurks near the edge of the cemetery, just beyond the tree line. It never moves, it never speaks. But if you lock eyes with it, a sense of suffocating dread washes over you, as if something ancient and malevolent has marked you. Those who have seen the Watcher claim they were plagued by nightmares for weeks afterward, dreams of being buried alive, of clawing at the dirt as unseen hands pulled them deeper into the ground. There are those who say Asbury Cemetery is nothing more than an old graveyard, its legends the result of overactive imaginations and local folklore. But others know the truth. They have felt the chill in the air when no wind was blowing. They have heard the whispers calling their name. And some, the unlucky ones, have left with more than just a story. They have left with something following them home. Number 4. Stuckies Bridge, the ghost of a hanged murderer. Deep in the backwoods of Lauderdale County, where the Tombigbee River snakes through the dense Mississippi wilderness, lies a forgotten relic of the past, Stuckies Bridge. Its rusting frame and decaying wooden planks tell the story of time, neglect, and something far more sinister. The legend begins in the 1800s with a man named Stuckey, a member of the infamous Dalton Gang, a ruthless group of outlaws who made their living through theft and murder. But Stuckey had his own way of handling things. Unlike his fellow outlaws, who were content with quick robberies, Stuckey preferred to lure travelers into a deadly trap. He built an inn near the bridge, a welcoming sight for weary souls traveling through the unforgiving Mississippi terrain. It's said that he would invite them in, offer them food and a warm bed, but the moment they let their guard down, their fates were sealed. Stuckey would rob them blind, murder them in cold blood, and dispose of their bodies in the waters below. For years, no one suspected a thing. The bridge remained just another crossing point, and travelers who disappeared were simply assumed to have fallen victim to the dangers of the road. But secrets don't stay buried forever. As the number of missing travelers grew, the townspeople became suspicious. Stories began circulating, rumors of blood-curdling screams heard in the dead of night, of lanterns flickering in the darkness long after Stuckey's guests had supposedly gone to sleep. Finally, a group of locals decided to investigate. What they found was horrifying. Personal belongings of the missing were discovered hidden around Stuckey's property. The shallow waters beneath the bridge, once pristine, concealed something far more disturbing. Human remains, half buried in the riverbed, tangled in the reeds. Fury swept through the town. Stuckey was captured, dragged to the very bridge where he had claimed so many lives, and without a trial, the people took justice into their own hands. They wrapped a noose around his neck, threw it over a sturdy wooden beam, and let him swing. The legend says he didn't die immediately, that his body twisted and writhed as he gasped for air. A fitting end for a man who had caused so much suffering. But if the townspeople thought they had put an end to Stuckey's evil, they were wrong. To this day, those who dare to cross Stuckies Bridge at night report hearing eerie footsteps following them. Slow, deliberate, just like a predator stalking its prey. Others have seen a dim, flickering lantern moving along the bridge, always just out of reach. Some even claim to hear splashing in the river below, as if something is trying, desperately, to crawl back out. The most chilling encounters come from those who claim to have seen him. A dark figure standing at the edge of the bridge, his head tilted at an unnatural angle, watching. Some say if you stop too long, he'll whisper to you, low and raspy, like wind through the trees. Number 3. Duff Green Mansion, a Civil War nightmare. Some houses are more than just old. Some places hold on to the past like a wound that never heals, replaying their tragedies over and over again. The Duff Green Mansion, situated in the heart of Vicksburg, Mississippi, is one of those places, a home where the echoes of war, suffering, and death refuse to fade. Built in 1856 by wealthy cotton merchant Duff Green, the mansion was meant to be a grand estate, a symbol of Southern prosperity, but fate had other plans. Just a few years later, the Civil War erupted, and Vicksburg became a battleground. When Union forces laid siege to the city in 1863, Duff Green Mansion was no longer just a home. It was transformed into a makeshift hospital, a place where wounded soldiers were brought to either recover or die. The horrors that unfolded within these walls were unspeakable. The once elegant ballrooms became operating rooms, where doctors worked tirelessly by candlelight, their hands slick with blood. The wounded filled every available space, their agonized cries echoing through the halls. Amputations were performed without anesthesia, the screams of soldiers blending with the metallic clang of saws as limbs were discarded into piles. Blood soaked into the wooden floors, leaving behind stains that could never be scrubbed away. And death was everywhere. The Union and Confederate soldiers, bitter enemies on the battlefield, died side by side in this house, their final breaths filling the air thick with the stench of gunpowder and decay. Some never made it past the front steps, their bodies stacked outside waiting for burial. Others, too wounded to fight but not yet dead, were left to waste away in agony, their suffering stretching on for days. But what makes the Duff Green Mansion truly terrifying isn't just its past. It's the fact that, even now, the dead seem unwilling to leave. Guests and staff have reported seeing shadowy figures wandering the halls at night, their ghostly forms barely distinguishable from the flickering candlelight. The sound of phantom footsteps echoes through empty rooms, pacing as if someone is still waiting, still suffering. One of the most infamous spirits said to haunt the mansion is that of a soldier, some say a Confederate, others claim a Union officer, who never left his battlefield hospital bed. He has been seen standing at the foot of visitors' beds, his hollow eyes fixed on them as if waiting for something. Some have even woken up to the sensation of unseen hands pressing down on their chest, as if a weight is holding them in place, trapping them in a moment between life and death. And then there is the little girl. Long before the war turned Duff Green Mansion into a house of horrors, a young girl lived within these walls, until illness took her life. To this day, visitors claim to hear the soft laughter of a child echoing through the halls, followed by the faint sound of skipping footsteps. Some have seen her standing at the top of the grand staircase, her translucent form watching in silence before disappearing into the shadows. The most disturbing encounter comes from those who have felt something unseen. A cold breath against their skin, a whisper in their ear when no one else was there. And then there are those who have visited the mansion only to leave with an overwhelming sense of dread, as if something had followed them. Perhaps the Duff Green Mansion is simply a relic of the past, a historical landmark preserved to remind us of what once was. Number 2. King's Tavern. There is something unsettling about King's Tavern. Maybe it's the way the ancient wooden beams seem to groan under their own weight. Maybe it's the flickering lantern light casting restless shadows against the walls. Or maybe it's the presence of something unseen, something waiting in the darkness. Located in the historic town of Natchez, Mississippi, King's Tavern is one of the oldest buildings in the state. Built in the 1700s, it served as a stagecoach stop, a post office, and eventually, a tavern where weary travelers sought shelter. But not all who entered King's Tavern made it back out. During the late 18th century, the tavern was owned by a man named Richard King, a businessman who operated under a facade of respectability. But rumors swirled that the tavern wasn't just a place for drinking and lodging. It was a haven for criminals, a place where men disappeared, never to be seen again. Highwaymen and thieves were said to lurk in the shadows, preying on unsuspecting travelers. And then, there was Madeline. Madeline was Richard King's mistress, a young woman who worked at the tavern and soon became entangled in a web of jealousy and betrayal. According to legend, Richard's wife learned of the affair, and in a fit of rage, she sought revenge. What happened next is a mystery. Some say Madeline was murdered by Richard's wife herself, strangled in the darkness of her room. Others claim she was dragged into the cellar and left to rot beneath the floorboards. For centuries, her fate remained a whispered tale of local legend. But then, something chilling happened. During renovations in the 1930s, workers uncovered something buried deep within the tavern's walls: skeletal remains. 3 bodies, their bones hidden for over 100 years. Among them, the remains of a woman. Some believe this was Madeline, her body left to decay within the very walls of the place she once called home. And if she was buried within King's Tavern, perhaps she never left. Visitors and staff have reported chilling encounters that defy explanation. Glasses shatter on their own, doors creak open and slam shut with no one nearby. The temperature drops suddenly, an unnatural cold wrapping around those who linger too long. And then, there is the apparition. She has been seen standing near the upstairs fireplace, her form barely visible in the dim light. Some say she appears in mirrors, her reflection staring back at them with hollow eyes before vanishing. Others have felt the soft touch of invisible hands brushing against their skin, a presence lingering just out of sight. But the most terrifying encounters come from those who have heard her voice. Late at night, when the tavern is silent, a whisper drifts through the air, soft, sorrowful, unmistakably feminine. Some say she calls out for justice, her voice an echo of betrayal that refuses to be silenced. Others claim to have heard quiet weeping, the sound of a woman mourning something lost long ago. And then there are those who have seen her face, pale, beautiful, and filled with sorrow. A fleeting glimpse before she fades into the darkness once more. King's Tavern is more than just an old building with a dark past. It is a place where history lingers, where the dead refuse to rest. And if you ever find yourself standing in its shadowed halls, remember this: some spirits do not seek revenge, some do not seek peace, some simply remain. Number 1. McRaven House. Some places don't just feel haunted, they are haunted. Not by legend, not by whispers of the past, but by something real. Something unseen, yet undeniably present. Welcome to McRaven House. Standing in eerie isolation on the outskirts of Vicksburg, Mississippi, McRaven House has earned a reputation as the most haunted home in the state. Some say, even in the entire South. Its walls have witnessed war, tragedy, and untimely death, and whatever lingers within its halls has no intention of leaving. McRaven wasn't built all at once. It was stitched together over decades, each addition bringing new life and new death into its walls. The oldest part of the home dates back to 1797, built during a time when lawlessness ruled the land and survival often came at the end of a gun. Later, during the Civil War, the house became a sanctuary for wounded soldiers. Blood stained the wooden floors. Their dying breaths filled the air. Perhaps that's why McRaven is haunted, not by one spirit, but by many. One of the most famous apparitions is that of Mary Elizabeth Howard, the young wife of a former owner. In 1836, she died inside McRaven, suffering from complications after childbirth. She was just 15 years old. Her spirit never left. Visitors have seen her dressed in white, her sorrowful figure drifting through the upstairs rooms. Others have heard the soft rustling of fabric when no one is there, as if someone unseen is moving just beyond their vision. She has been known to play pranks like rearrange furniture, open and close doors, and even brush her cold fingers against the living. But Mary is not alone. During the siege of Vicksburg in 1863, Confederate soldiers sought refuge in McRaven House, using it as a makeshift hospital. Many never made it out alive. Today, their restless spirits make their presence known. Dark figures have been seen pacing the hallways, their faces obscured by shadow. The sound of heavy boots echoes through the house, as if spectral soldiers are still patrolling the floors. Some visitors have even heard gunshots, sharp, deafening, and coming from nowhere. One story tells of a guest who saw a soldier standing at the foot of their bed, dressed in full Confederate uniform. He said nothing. He simply stared. And then, he was gone. Perhaps the most terrifying ghost in McRaven House belongs to John H. Bobb, a former owner who met a brutal end right outside his own home. During the post-war Reconstruction era, tensions in Vicksburg ran high. John Bobb, a staunch Confederate sympathizer, found himself at odds with Union soldiers stationed in the city. One fateful day, they came for him. Dragged from his home, Bobb was beaten and executed just outside McRaven's doorstep. His blood seeped into the earth, his rage echoing through time. Now, his presence is anything but subtle. His spirit is known to lash out at visitors, slamming doors, shoving the unwelcome, and even whispering in low, guttural tones. Some have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread in his former bedroom, as if unseen eyes were watching. McRaven House is not just a place where ghosts are seen, it's a place where they interact. Paranormal investigators have captured chilling EVPs, disembodied voices caught on tape. Some say they felt cold hands wrap around their wrists, tugging them toward the darkness. Others have run out in terror, convinced they were not alone. Perhaps McRaven is cursed. Perhaps the souls trapped within its walls are simply unwilling to move on. But one thing is certain. If you step inside, you will feel it. The past is still alive here. Mississippi is a land of deep history, lingering spirits, and places where the past refuses to die. These locations are more than just haunted. They are living remnants of something far more mysterious and far more terrifying. But the question remains, are these just legends? Or do the spirits of the past still walk among us, trapped between the world of the living and the dead? This has been Tyler. Thanks for joining me on this chilling exploration of Mississippi and its creepiest places. Do you believe in haunted places? Have you ever experienced something supernatural? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoy diving into the eerie and unexplained, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and stay creepy. Bye for now.